Hi, it's Tracy Trapesky. If you're like my clients, you're experiencing something like this. My clients come to me with various frustrations, overwhelm, and desires, and 100% of my clients share the same complaint: not enough time. I had a client named Jeremy whose top priorities were to clear up time to eat lunch, leave on time every day, and open up 2 half days, one for research to stay on top of his game, and one to be with his young children in the afternoon. He shared with me that he was having what I call the 3 a.m. sweats. I'm sure you can relate. And he was dreaming that his practice was a monster swallowing him whole. He was considering selling his practice and going into a hospital environment, even though that environment would not support his ultimate dream of expanding his practice and opening a multidisciplinary integrative wellness center. He was exhausted, hardly ever had time to eat during his workday, and never had time to do his research and writing. His wife was worried about his well being, and she was also frustrated because he was often late coming home from work and picking up their two older children from daycare. He was struggling to be present in all aspects of his work and life. His revenues had stalled, and he could not see how he could grow his practice without working even more, which definitely was not an option for him. He was also performing some admin tasks to pick up the slack, which is never recommended for the provider. In a few words, he was a hot mess while his practice was in a huge growth phase. The systems he had in place when he was flying mostly solo were really no longer sustainable, and he was afraid his practice was going to crumble beneath him. At this point of growth, his practice was way too painful to scale, and he couldn't fathom how he could serve more patients, even though he had a waiting list of patients that went several weeks out. Jeremy's business had grown to the point where it demanded that he up his leadership game. His practice demanded that he step out of the doer role and into the high impact CEO role that he was meant to play. Can you relate to this on any level? As I said, I'm Tracy. I'm an executive coach and business consultant. I'm mom to two teenagers, one who's 18, heading to college in August, and one who's 16, a sophomore in high school. I'm happily married to Aaron, and we relocated to Chapel Hill, North Carolina from the DC area in 2017. For the past almost 12 years, I've been working with private practice owners and their teams to help them connect deeply with their visions and grow their businesses to support their dreams, many of which go way beyond medical and healthcare. I worked in the corporate world in operations and also as a consultant. An exciting, interesting tidbit: I got to go to Nigeria twice in 3 months on a consulting project. It was really cool, super eye-opening, and it taught me a lot about why I love connecting with people so much. When I was in corporate, I had over 200 people reporting to me through various channels. I was burning out and overloaded most days, and I felt like I could never get caught up. So I started to get really clear about how to prioritize tasks, delegate and eliminate what didn't require my attention. And rather than try to get as much done as possible, I focused on getting done what mattered the most and collaborating with my team to reprioritize the rest. So flash forward 20 years. I'm old enough to say that now. And now I'm teaching my clients what I've learned about the troubles with conventional time management tools. And we're shifting our focus to this concept of time leadership. I love what I do because I get to see my clients free themselves from the shackles of the success trap and really live into the dream they had when they opened their private practice. The most rewarding part of my job is that over time, my clients not only achieve their goals, but they often expand their visions, and I get to be part of that. So now that we've talked about what drives my clients to seek support, and you know a little more about me, let's learn about time leadership. In the interest of time, I will focus on the first pillar of time leadership, which is discovery. So I've created 3 pillars for it. We'll learn a little about each, but our primary will be the first. So pillar 1 is discovery. And this really means getting crystal clear about your vision and goals. I call this the slowing down to speed up phase, or as some of my clients call it, torture by clarity, but kind of kidding. But without clarity, we can't even begin to draw a map. Have you ever gone on a road trip without a destination? It's cute and it's a fun idea until you run out of gas and snacks, you can't find a rest stop, and you have no idea where you are. Of course, this is my college self talking, right? Not the current GPS Waze, Google Maps era, Tracy. But you get what I'm saying, yes? Pillar one, discovery. Get crystal clear about your vision and goals. We'll deep dive a little bit in a moment, but pillar two, analysis, which is where we gather data. So we're going to observe and evaluate how you use your time, which tasks can be delegated or eliminated, and estimate how much time you will recover in doing that. A question I ask my clients a lot is, how much do you cost your business? And when you do this analysis, you may get a little bit of a jolt, but you'll have a really clear idea of where to start trimming the fat, so to speak. So pillar two, analysis. Observe and evaluate how you use your time. Pillar three is action. And I really call this inspired action because we're going to create an action plan with practical steps and workarounds to avoid potential setbacks. And this is where my clients usually want to start. But remember that road trip without a destination, snacks, gas, toilets, running water, you'd be charging out of the gate and squandering more time than you already do. Ouch, I know. Sorry, but not sorry. So pillar three, taking inspired action. Please trust me when I say that going out of order will not be your friend. When you take the time to talk about and write down what you really want in the discovery pillar, everything else starts to move faster. The fewer side trips and detours, the better. So let's deep dive into pillar one, discovery, just a bit here. This is where you'll want to take notes if you haven't started already. So write down these questions and then set aside some time to answer them fully. Or if you want, pause and write them down and come back. Question one, why did you do this? Why did you start a private practice, or why did you join a private practice as an owner or part owner? Two, what made you excited? Question three, what is your grand vision? This is where you're going to grab that magic wand and paint the picture where time and money are no object, and you could do anything you wanted to do within your area of expertise. And question four, how do you get blocked? What are the roadblocks that consistently, regularly get in your way? Write them all down. Now, why do we start here? We start here because if we charge out of the gate without training, mapping our path, or getting intimately connected with our data, we will likely spin our wheels. So we get back to basics. This is the point in my own coaching where my business coach asks me what makes me so angry that I want to change it. So be honest about why you decided to go into private practice. Surely there was something easier than running your own practice. So why did you do it? Write your answers where you can reflect on them again later. And this is the juicy bit. My clients know, because I warned them early, that we practice the slow down to speed up method of business scaling. When we get to the heart and soul, like the why of your big dream, now you can get super clear about what's most important and why you need to structure your time in such a way that supports actually achieving your goals and dreams. I once had a prospective client get super quiet in a strategy call. And when I asked if they were okay, they responded, holy all of this is really possible. It's like they'd never even realized until they heard themselves say it out loud that they could actually achieve everything on their wish list. So no matter the goals of my clients, we always start with discovery, always. Now let's talk about roadblocks. We all have them. Mental blocks, real life stuff that gets in the way of us getting stuff done. You name it, it could become a roadblock. So write down the things that consistently get in the way of you getting things done. Write everything down, everything. Don't worry if you sound petty or frustrated. Maybe, don't let some people see it if that will make you feel better. But the point of all of this is to get out of our heads, to get really clear, to be honest with ourselves, and then get to work. Like I tell my clients, and you're welcome in advance for this, get out of your head, get out of your head, get out of your head, and then get out of your head. Another client I worked with had difficulty focusing on what was most important because to her, everything seemed like a fire that needed to be put out. And this is so common with high-level professionals. I'd say maybe 95% of my clients struggle with this before we work together. So the workaround for thinking everything is a fire to be put out now is simple, but not necessarily easy. The workaround is getting really clear about what your priorities are and then sticking to that plan. It might be harder than you think. But once you've decided and discovered what that is, you want to communicate with your team, get it written into your operations manuals, which I call the office Bibles, and prioritize your time like your life and business depend on it, because they do. This step is imperative to your success. I can't emphasize it enough. Discovery, identifying roadblocks and workarounds, it's like taking a self-defense class. It'll give you a different air about you. It'll seem like you're impervious because you'll have a plan for all contingencies you can possibly dream up. And if things go sideways, like they occasionally do, you'll have a plan and you will be much less likely to get derailed. So from here, now you're ready to tackle the next two pillars, which, as a reminder, are analysis and inspired action. Remember the pro tip? Don't skip steps. Let's review what we've gone over so far. I've briefed you on the three pillars of time leadership. You know why it's so important not to skip steps and why we start with discovery. This is about getting crystal clear on why you do, what you stand for, and what sets you apart from other providers. Remember, this is the slow down to scale up method or speed up method, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're slowing down your business growth unless you want to do that. Remember my client, Jeremy, who barely had time for lunch? He had only just started the first pillar work of discovery and increased revenues by 40% in 3 months' time. He hadn't even moved to the next two pillars yet. And incidentally, he doubled his business in year one and doubled it again in year two after implementing these plans. So, of course, as I may have mentioned before, don't skip steps. The analysis and action pillars are just as important as discovery. However, without discovery, your analysis gives you data, but you'll be unclear about what you want to do with that data. And if you skip straight to action without clarity and data or analysis, then you'll contribute to your own burnout, lack of time, loss of energy, and missed opportunities to serve your patients at the high standard of care that you've committed to. When our energy's low, people pick up on it. So I'd like to share something that will support you in taking your time back. I've created a program that will support you through all three pillars from start to finish and help you pave the way to taking back up to 5 hours per week. I'll tell you, most of my clients, it takes them 3 to 6 months to really start to kind of right that ship and move it in that direction. So I'll be, in all transparency, it takes time, but spending some time figuring out what's most important and then analyzing your data and discovering and creating your path forward will help you recover your time. So as you've seen in this video, I place a lot of emphasis on leading and guiding your time rather than managing it. As I mentioned earlier, there will be a point in the growth of your practice that the practice itself will demand that you rise to a different level of leadership. Your business will demand that you elevate and think and make decisions like the high impact CEO that you're meant to be. As a provider, you may not have had that in mind when you decided to go into private practice, and I get it. And you're welcome in advance for this advice. You can't escape this. The good news is that as the CEO of your practice, you aren't required to do all of the work. You're not. Yay. The bad news is you are required to have a crystal clear vision and be prepared to make decisions based on how they relate to and align with your vision. So my invitation to you is to book a strategy session with me. Together, we can map out a clear time leadership plan where you take into account what you really want, where you're headed, and what you're willing to do to achieve your goals. The success of your practice depends upon your clarity. In our strategy session, we'll spend about 45 minutes together on the house to craft your plan. And I can comfortably predict one of two things will happen. One, you'll love your plan and you'll want to implement it on your own, at which time I will say, thank you very much. I've been really honored to spend this time with you. The only thing I ask is that you keep me posted and let me know how it's going. And two, you will love your plan and decide you want to work With me, you'll want more support in implementing it, and in which case we can explore working together to help you achieve your dreams and your vision. It's that simple. It really is. You can click on the link in the email that this video came through to schedule your strategy session, or you can go to tracycherpesky.com/medical-practices. I want to thank you for being here and for making time in your busy day to watch this video. I appreciate you, and I am grateful to have spent this time together. Now go schedule your strategy session so you can have a life and business of your dreams. Bye.